there, welcome back to another show. Today I'm talking about I Saw the Devil. Now, this film was made by Kim Ji-woon and it stars Lee Bung-hoon as a National Intelligence Service agent whose pregnant wife is killed by a character played by Choi Min-sik. Hopefully I haven't butchered these names too much. Right, who's this bus driver and who's a total psycho. And it's basically a revenge tale. And it's one of those things, the saying is, if you plan revenge, dig two graves, one for them and one for you, because you're going to destroy yourself. And that's basically the film. It's a revenge tale which shows you the deprivation of revenge. And especially if you take revenge against someone who's is able for you and who is just as cruel and evil as you would dread an opponent being. So it is a cat and mouse game where both sides are brutalised and depraved in their own way. I mean, our lead character, his wife dies early on in the film, and he was at work at the time protecting somebody. And after the body's found, and the body has been butchered in some of the most horrific ways possible, because this film does not shy away from the brutality of the killings. It does not. It does not shy away from how evil and awful the killer is, and how much he makes his patient, his victims suffer. Like, they don't shy away from it. They have the actresses go through hell to show how horrible it is. It doesn't glorify. But a lot of serial killer films, they shy away from that. They just show you all the kind of... It's almost like they're trying to make it cool in some way with how terrifying this person is, and almost like they forget the moral scale of their actions. This film doesn't. This film says, it's actually, this guy's awful. This guy is beyond the pale. He should be, he should be in jail at least. Depending on how you feel in death penalty. I mean, he's like a poster for death penalty, this guy. He's so depraved. But they have to catch him, and the lead character cannot just accept normal justice. He has to get revenge. Because he cannot cry after his wife's death. He cannot feel the emotions of the grief. He's bottled him up to get revenge because it's the only way he can deal with what's happened. And his the father of the girl who died as well, or the woman who died, he's a police chief, and he's the same way. I mean, he knows the law, but he cannot put down a sense of revenge. And this feeling of vengeance from both of them, that goes from finding who it is to actually getting vengeance on them, destroys both of them in horrible ways. And it really is about vengeance and how vengeance can go so wrong. Now, I don't want to suggest this is just a bleak, horrible film that will make you depressed. It's actually really funny. It's darkly funny. It's lots of weird tangents you don't expect. Lots of interesting characters you don't expect. It's a really well-written, well-made film that balances tones amazingly. There's a sense of a tone that's always shifting. Just as your appreciation of the plot keeps on twisting, the tone twists as well. So it goes to side angles. We see things that are darkly funny, and you shouldn't laugh at them, but they are funny. So even though the film is actually showing you how horrible the killer is, it also shows you the funny side of it, which is very uncomfortable, which makes it a really great film, a really great serial killer film, because it's like, it shows the uncomfortable part of life and the uncomfortable part of the existence of these people, is that it's not just black and white. There's a lot of nuances by the chaos they cause. Now, the killer, we find out who killed her pretty quickly, and our supposed hero finds the killer pretty quickly, but he goes through a few suspects the way, where one of them is a pervert who gets his balls smashed to pieces by our cop, and he ends up confessing to some murders he did, even though he didn't do this murder. The guy's just brutal. The guy has been trained to do this kind of stuff, and he is out for vengeance. He will destroy anybody. And what he basically does is he plants a bug in the killer. So once he's caught him, he stops him from doing a murder. Once he's caught him, he sends him on his way and starts to mentally torture him. And really, really messes with him. And he's just brutal about how much he's going to make this guy suffer before he dies. He's like, I'm going to make your life a living hell. This horrible thing's the worst going to happen to you. No, it's going to be much worse. And he's just like sadistic. He just the title itself is a weird title because it's the devil. It's really you're seeing the devil in yourself. You're seeing the worst parts of yourself come out for vengeance. Like the serial killer character's seen the worst parts of himself and is comfortable with them. The other guy, our protagonist, isn't. He's not used to this. He's not used to seeing the darkest aspects of himself, and as the world spins out and out and out around him. Now, this is as far as I'm going to go without saying, okay, spoilers. Because it's been out for a while, this film, but he still may not have seen it. So, if you haven't seen it at this point, what I've told you is pretty much probably what you would have seen in trailers and reviews, general reviews. Okay, I haven't seen it going any further than that. So if you're interested in this, go see the film and then come back. If you have seen the film or interested and don't give it spoilers, keep going. But I thought I'd better give a warning. Like I'm going to have to go in further now to talk about the film, so there will be that's a spoiler warning. You know, there's spoilers coming. So basically, the guy is getting tortured. He's getting mentally tortured. But even though he's getting prodded and he's getting phone calls from our protagonist telling him, "Look, I know where you are, and I'm going to make your life live in hell." That does not stop the guy from being a total psychopath. He still tries to rape somebody in a doctor's office, like, almost instantly. Like, he does not care. He just tries to prod the guy back, saying, "Look, you can't stop me." So the guy gets brutal with him. And then the killer escapes to a house where some of his with other serial killers there. And it creates this really dark sequence where they're dealing with this other psychopath as well. And his girlfriend, and how depraved this whole world is. It just shows you, just as you started off with something realistically awful happening, then you've upped it to revenge. And this fantastic revenge tale when you run into that, and then you've seen how twisted that can get by the killer kicking back. Then you go to even more depraved levels with a guy with the serial killers. It just goes on and on, like into utter weirdness and just making you very uncomfortable. But the upshot to this is the guy finds out he's been bugged. There's a bug in his body, which he finds a way to get the bug out of his body to disappear, and then because he knows who's actually doing this to him and why, he goes after the family of the guy who was doing it to him to make his life a living hell. So it just becomes a case of revenge is absolutely awful. Revenge can go way out of control. So that guy could have tagged the killer, but third of the way in and said, "This is the killer, arrest him for you, process him and put him in jail forever." And instead he decides to go for revenge and make it epic. So it gets prodded into worse and worse acts of depravity to get back at this guy. And he ends up losing all of his family to this guy killing them in a brutal way. Because, I mean, the police chief, he kind of had it coming because he was involved in the revenge plot. But his other daughter was saying, "Do not do this." She gets killed as well. And it's like, she did nothing wrong. That's the thing. That's the big... I would say the first death, that's the other death that really gets you. It's like, this is completely unacceptable. Which the makers of the film know. It's just proving how far going to hell this lead character's gone. Because he does not take this line down. He actually goes even further into depravity there. The guy tries to give himself up after this point, after he's taken out the entire family. the cop grabs him and does this elaborate revenge, grand revenge, so the guy gets killed in front of his own family. And it's just like, whoa, this is just so far out at this point. It's wonderful, but it's really disturbing. Because, I mean, the big thing with this film is it's still funny. No matter how far it goes, it remains funny. And that's really disturbing. I mean, the whole thing with the two serial killers in the house, it's really funny. And you really shouldn't be laughing, but you are, because it's hilarious. And the director is just twisting you all the way. He's just twisting your reactions to things. He's twisting your sense of morality a lot, and just like, even though you're watching a film, you know it's not real, it's twisting your responses to certain situations and how far they go and how implied you are into the actions of your lead character at a certain point. At some point, you have to back away from him and you go, this guy's insane. This guy has just lost the plot. You can't really sympathise. But it's fascinating showing you how the need for revenge, how complicated it be, and how like animalistic it is. Because, I mean, the guy who's after revenge, he's a normal, civilised person, but he, in experience of a tragedy just pushes him over the edge into areas he never probably knew he had in him. And it just shows you how much further he can spiral and spiral and spiral, and how everybody, even those closest people to him, become almost like toys in his revenge scheme to get some emotion that doesn't really matter ultimately. He's just destroyed everybody. You know, it's just like it was a tragedy. It was a random death. His wife accidentally went to this killer. She died, and then it just spins out from there, and he's completely incapable of dealing with his feelings. And he just shows you how human beings can be this way, how they can be logical on one level, but because he's very logical how he gets the guy, but also animalistic and territorial and nasty in another way, and how these two things can mix within a person and ways it's out of control. In the same way, the killer is animalistic in lots of ways, but also very smart. And he's not doing it for any reason beyond he's a sadist. And it just implies how close we all are to the animal side of us, and how some people can rise above it, but a lot of people just can't. If you hit them hard enough at something close to them, it will come out. We've all seen this in your own life. Like, anyone gets pushed in certain areas where they're sensitive, the worst side of the personality will come out. And this just takes this and just runs with it into this kind of Jacobean revenge tale of just awful violence repeatedly. And it just keeps being funny even though it shouldn't be. And it keeps being disturbing. So every time it gets funny, the end of this one is really disturbing and just really messes with you. I mean, there's lots and lots of scenes that are... You can't believe they're putting on a film, and they just keep going. And the lead character is just the most disturbing, vile character you'll see in a film. I mean, basically in the West, they would not have a character as bad as this. I mean, the idea of a psychopath is Hannibal Lecter. This guy's much worse. This guy is so much worse and so much more disturbing. Everything he does is horrific. It's just everything. I mean, in the West, there's this distance from killers. We want them to be funny and we want them to be sarcastic and nasty, but you want kind of distance from the killing so you're not too morally implied to them. You're not. There is something that keeps you from them. This film doesn't care. This is showing you like, push you too far, you can go as crazy as this person or the person trying to get them. Like, this is a person. This is not a fictional. It's a fictional character, but it's not this kind of ironic distance character. This is a psychopath that you might run into in real life. This kind of person exists, and it really is making it uncomfortable. And then it's showing you their life in a way that you probably do not want to know. It's kind of sort of similar to Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, where you're seeing the serial killer, the blank serial killer, in their daily life, and it's something that's not comfortable to watch because it's like it ties you much closer to them you really want to be. And it's wonderful. The film is wonderful. It is very dark and very disturbing. It's just a really twisted, really funny film, but it's so dark. It's great. I highly recommend it. If you want to see a tough, great serial killer film, see I Saw the Devil, because it just makes like Western serial killer films look pathetic. You know, there's only a few really good Western serial killer films. The rest are kind of garbage anyway, and this one just makes them look really garbagey in comparison. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're going to go watch the film and be disturbed and laugh at uncomfortable places. So that's me for now. When I saw the devil, I'll be back very soon.